Oh, you don't get a note copy, mate.
Oh, cool.
Oh yeah, unless you want to take notes, and then happy to give them to you.
Or draw dicks.
This is just really, or
Yeah,
draw
just
dicks.
draw
Like
dicks,
we've
yeah.
already seen that today.
All my students, yeah.
Yep.
That's all they. That's
Oh, yeah, you'd
Kids
be
still
used to
do
that.
that nowadays.
mate. That's a funny thing. There, give them a pen, and that's all they do.
Doodles.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's still funny. Is it still funny for you?
Oh, it's funny for me, but
How long have you been teaching for?
10 years.
Still funny.
Yeah, it'll always be funny.
It's going to be funny in the next 10 doing it.
Yeah, the kids did it last year. They drew a massive dick on a banner at the last day of school, and principal said to your mate Ryan,
Yeah.
and goes, massive dick, is it really that funny? And Ryan's like, it's pretty funny. that was the principal.
Worst part about it is there probably could be some of your students that are watching this now or listening to this now, and then they're going to hear that their teachers are saying, "Yeah, it's actually pretty funny when you draw dicks on all the stuff." So anyway,
It's all time and place. Time and place you try to teach them.
yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, is that
You
appropriate?
learn that with
Ryan?
age too,
Yeah.
don't you?
Why not?
Yeah,
It
absolutely.
is funny. In the work that I do, we had to do some surveys, and this big, large organisation from the government came along, and they were like, "Oh, can you survey these kids?" And I was just like, "Yeah, I can." You're going to get a lot of really interesting pictures from grade 7 to grade 10-year-old, particularly boys, and they didn't know what was coming. Me and Conks knew what was coming. It was very, very funny. But anyway,
It's quite funny when they try to roll out these new things and they don't actually, like, they don't realise the cohort of kids that we teach, and they have this idea in their heads, oh, this will be great, this will work, when really they haven't had brekkie and they can't read and they can't write.
But they can draw.
But they can draw. My art,
Yeah.
they can draw.
well, most of these people, they send their kids to Scotch or Friends, don't they? Isn't that sort of their benchmark?
Yep, correct. It's quite funny. This year I got a kid in workplace maths that drew me a picture day one. I've never met this kid before. It was like the double bird. Handed it to me on the way out. Exceptionally well drawn.
He drew it.
Yeah, he drew it for me. Double
Did he
bird.
give it to you as well or just drew it?
He gave me the picture.
Yeah.
Yeah, I put it above my desk.
That's
I said to him, mate, I've never seen somebody draw hands that good. Well done. And then,
Props to him.
Yep.
Joel,
good on
tell
him.
us about yourself, mate. Where are you from? What are you doing?
I'm originally from Moriarty. That's where I grew up, boy from the country. But now living in was living in Turners Beach. Currently living in Penguin, which we're really enjoying. In Joe Downs' house, old import. He bought a house out here. My life at the moment, little Bobby's come in. He's 7 months old. Back playing basketball. This is my 20th season in a row. I was doing a grueling pre-season the other day, doing box jumps, and I've been playing for longer than half my team's been alive. I've got like 15 to 17, 18-year-olds, and I've been playing for 20 years. So,
At what point do you feel old?
yeah,
5 years ago.
it's quite funny. Like obviously, even in the pre-season tournament this year, ladies on the bench were like, "Are you still playing?" And I was like, "Yep." I've got a weird outlook on life though. I'm a bit different where I don't really buy into the age. I feel like age is only a number, and you're only as old as you feel. And I still feel like a kid. So, I don't really feel old yet.
How's the body feel?
I don't know how, but I've started this season in better shape than I've probably been in for 5 or 6 years, and I don't really have an answer as to why. But yeah, I feel really good. Played last night. We got a win, and woke up this morning like I hadn't played. So I don't really understand it. I think it's more consistency over the off season this year. Less beers, more running around, chasing Bobby, spending time at home like that, and just consistently staying on top of things, and pretty good diet. So, pretty lucky in that sense.
I know a lot of people that we've had on the podcast in the past have spoken about age sort of catching up to them, particularly in footy and stuff like that. And there was one with Dipper where he was sort of talking about having a pretty significant injury and sort of pushing him out of sport. But sort of leads me to my next question for you, mate. At what point do you sort of have you thought about what happens after sport? I guess given that it's such a 20-year part of your life, what happens afterwards?
Yep. Well, throughout my career, I've always been asked to coach like juniors and do that sort of stuff, but I never really enjoyed coaching. Like as a school teacher, I feel like most of my time or all my time is teaching kids. My escape was basketball. And then the last thing I want to be doing with the little free time I had was teach kids basketball. Was the mentality I had, which probably makes sense.
It's fair.
That's probably shifted in the last couple of years where I've coached the Donkeys boys and had some awesome experiences coaching those guys, especially young men, and helping them develop that side of their game. Again, I see life a fair bit differently to most. I have a really good sport and then sort of life balance, I guess, where it's not just I'm 100% devoted to my sport and that's all I do, and I don't go out and I don't socialise and I don't do other things. I'm more so I play sport because I play basketball because I absolutely love it, but I also love going and hang out with my mates, playing golf, doing all the other things, festivals. I'm happy to miss a training to go and spend time with those guys, and as long as I can keep that all in balance, I'm pretty happy. The moment it stops becoming fun, that's when I'd pull the pin. Not to say, in this pre-season, I had a 3-week period there where I wasn't shooting the ball well, and I was like, shit, maybe am I getting close to that period? And then instead of that, I just knuckled down and put in like 2 weeks of solid training, and then turned it around pretty quick. So it did float into my head, like, is this getting past me? But I just was shooting the ball horrendously and couldn't figure it out. But I've got a coach at school, Tahani Bennell. I can just go to her and say, T, I need a couple of sessions with you, and she sort of can point me in the right direction. She'll go, this and this is your problem at the moment. I'll go, right, cool. And I've played long enough to be able to flick it pretty quickly. But yeah, in terms of life after basketball now, I probably haven't thought too much about it. It'll probably involve a fair bit of golf. Really enjoy my golf. Bit of fishing with his mate Ryan. I enjoy that. And then hanging out with Bobby. But I can see myself moving into a coaching space now, but I never could for the first 17 years of my basketball career. But yeah, that'd be somewhere I reckon I'll head. I've always thought about what is next. My brain does a million things. So I could be. It'll ask me on any given day. It'll be I want to do this, or I want to start a business, or whatever it is. And those ideas come in and out all the time.
Yeah. And you do have a little side hustle business. How's that going for you?
Good. Yep. So Ridge's Beer Co. So I started that with a mate.
Plug.
Yeah, quick plug.
Quick plug.
I started that with a guy, my best mate that I went to uni with. Tom Claridge is his name. We were sitting there. We had a bit of time on our hands when we first graduated. I think this teaching thing's pretty easy. And
trigger warning.
Yeah, you should meet my wife.
I no longer feel like that. But early on, we felt like we had time. We had all the energy in the world. We're like, what else can we do? Like, what can we do with ourselves? And like sitting around, and we enjoy going to the pub. Like, what are we good at? Like, we're good at drinking beers. Maybe we should do something in that space.
Sell beers.
Yeah, let's sell beers. We like having a party and that sort of thing. So yeah, created that and built that together. And then a couple years into that, he joined the Navy. So he's now a pilot in the Navy. Lives in Gerringong up in New South Wales.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, sort of left the business to me, and I run it on the side over summer. Probably get, I don't know, between 5 and 10 gigs a year, but I wouldn't want it to be much more than that. Like summer as a teacher, again, the work-life balance thing and sport. I need to keep that in check. If I'm doing that every weekend, it wouldn't be worth it for me.
So you're just doing lesson plans all summer?
Yeah, I do all the time. Yeah,
There's no time off, is it?
No time off as a teacher. Lots of planning for the following year, and don't even get a chance to go to the beach or go and hang out with mates at all, ever.
No, especially while you're at work as well. Like, there's no outdoor ed classes that go kayaking or go surfing or anything like that. It's all curriculum focused and
correct. Yeah,
and
the table tennis table stays away, and we don't compete ever. Pickleball hasn't taken over our lives either. We've certainly become pickleball enthusiasts at school and rate ourselves pretty heavily as a teaching staff. So yeah.
You spoke about a little bit about career and sporting career. At what point as a young person? So I think the first time I came across you was when you came to a rugby session when you were a Grom at Latrobe, I think.
I remember this.
And you tried to convince me at the time that basketball was better than rugby, and I remember having a big sort of argument with you at that point because I was playing like rugby flat out. Now, as an old person, I probably more agree with Joel, and basketball is pretty much my jam now and right behind the Jackies. But was never fucking good at it. Was always atrocious at it. But that's fine. It was fun anyway.
I've seen you have a couple of good games.
I think my nickname was the microwave. Fucking got on
ate
it up real quick. And that was about it. Then went off like I was fucking done at that.
Yeah.
But at what point did you sort of think about, hey, I need to start to think about going to uni because maybe sport wasn't going to be like professional? Like, because I've seen that obviously you were at that precipice at one point where one person we both know sort of did go down, like thinking Mason, like went down that sort of more professional sort of path, and I think both of you were, in my eyes, pretty much as good as each other, if not like 1 week one was better than the other or whatever. Like, at what point did you decide to? Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does. And yeah, Mace rang me yesterday actually to wish me luck on the start of the season. So we're still very good mates. It was because I was in the Thunder program when I was like 15 years old. I was just naive and I'll go along to this and try and get better. And Mark Radford was coaching, still the best coach I've ever had. Probably the next Jackie's coach, I reckon. But yeah, he was the one that sort of pushed me and encouraged me to go down that path. I wanted to go to college in America and see where basketball took me. And he said, go to university, do 1 year, and that'll cut down a lot of the red tape to get to college. And I went to uni. Had no one in my family's ever been to uni. I was like, what the hell am I doing? But I remember sitting there over the summer. I love Test cricket. Like, I sit there for 5 days, wouldn't move. And the only ads that come on were apply for university and KFC, like for the whole summer. That's all that came on. So
that's a market for the cricket.
Yeah. Ate a bunch of chicken and then, fumbled my way through a application to uni and completely butchered it. Knowing what I know now, coming from my background, which is like we didn't have a lot of money growing up, broken home, all that sort of stuff. Northwest Coast, we're low socioeconomic. I could have got every grant under the sun, I reckon. I've got Indigenous background as well. So every grant under the sun would have been, or scholarship would have been applicable to me, and didn't apply for any of them because I had no idea what I was doing. So did that, got to uni, and then met my crew that I'm now best mates with and just never left. That did my first year of uni and then, met my partner Elle and my best mate Tom, another guy we hung around with, Lucas, and a good mate of mine now, Luke Parry, at uni. The crew that we had there were wicked, and I just never left. So that was I was happy with playing NBL 1 with the Thunder, and then I was playing for Ulverstone at that point as well, and I was pretty content with, again, work like the balance. Mind you, I would have loved to have gone live that college lifestyle. I think that would have been very much suited to me. That would have been really, really cool experience, but I wouldn't trade it now for the decision I made to not go. And now I have my best mates, my partner Elle and the kid. I'm really content with that as well.
Sort of decided itself then.
Yeah, yep. Which a lot of my life I do. I don't have a lot of planning go into it. I just sort of hang on by the edge of my seat and just see what happens. And it's worked out pretty well for me at times and not so well for me other times. But, sort of just go with my gut a lot. And, if I am enjoying something, I'll do it. And if I don't, I can check out pretty quick and go, you know what, I don't want to do this. Which has happened a couple of times in my basketball career, playing Thunder. I've had I think I had 2 stints where I didn't play at all, not playing at the moment, just through, either the dynamic or the setup of how it's being run. If I wasn't enjoying it, I just pulled the pin and said, nah, I'm not doing this. I'm not going to put myself through that. Go and do something else for a while.
That's fair.
Yeah.
You made a point when you were talking about it, about your upbringing. And for those that don't really know you very well, Do you want to talk a little bit about that and how did you, like, was it a difficult transition for you to get to where you are now? Like, were you family supportive in that decision to go to university? Because I know that there could be a lot of people that are listening to that that are in the same spot now as probably what you were 18 years, 16, 15 years ago, whatever it was. Yep.
No, my parents were both super, like, really supportive, have been all along. They were just, whatever you want to do, go for it. I've got a really good relationship with both of them. It was always honesty first. Other people from the outside would have been like, they're pretty loose, my parents, and they're more friends than parents. It was, no matter what we did, just tell us the truth and we'll try and help you out of it and we'll try and get you out of trouble. Which there was a few of. So they were really supportive. But I try to instill that in the kids now that I teach. I say to them all the time, like, it doesn't matter what's going on at home for you. Like, there's a path out of it. Like, you can go and do better for yourself. Like, we just didn't have any money growing up, and it was like hand-me-down clothes and Vinnies and struggling to put food on the table at times or pay the power bill. And I was like, you know what, fuck that. I'm not doing that. I want better. I want to go and do better. And I had some really positive influences in my life at that time. Like, Nick Haywood was one. It was in my corner. Ben Murfitt was another one they sort of took me under their wing through that Thunder program. So I was like 15, 16. And I was going from Devonport to Burnie with those guys in the car. And they were sort of pushing me in that direction as well. Like, you're pretty suited to PE teacher. You'll be like, this is the career for you. And they could see what was going on at home for me. I would always have like the shittest basketball, like, well, not the shittest, I shouldn't say that. Mum would hate me for that. But we did the best we could. But it was, a lot of time hand-me-downs and all that kind of shit. Paying regos was really hard. There wasn't a lot to pay to play and government incentives back then. But, so just having those positive role models that helped me and listening to them and taking their advice and not thinking I knew everything. Like, I'll give advice to kids now and they just brush me off and go, what would you know? I was like, mate, I'm trying to help you. Or, whatever it is. But, trying to show them that you can actually make a decision and go and better your life. But a lot of them see their parents on Centrelink and, like, not having to go to work, and they're like, well, fuck that, I don't want to go to work. Well, go and do a job that you like, and then it doesn't become work. And you can set yourself up. And I try to talk to them about my experiences, about how much we've travelled. Like, we've been done 3 trips to Europe, one to America. I've been to Vietnam, and Bali a heap of times. Like, we travel a lot. And my parents have been out. My dad's never been out of Australia, and my mum's been to Vietnam, and I think that's about it. To show them that, we come from a low socioeconomic place on the northwest coast, but that doesn't have to define who you are. Like, you can go and it's pretty easy now to have access to different programs, different whatever it is, to do whatever you want and make a career out of it. Like, the world's never been easier to access ever, and people get stuck in that. We come from the northwest coast, so I'm going to end up either on Centrelink, don't have to work, or a shit job. Like, you don't have to do that.
They commit themselves to that prophecy, really, don't they? Because that's all they've ever seen.
Yeah. And I'm a massive, massive believer in you're a product of your environment, but you also have the power to change that if you want. But kids don't have that idea in their head. But they see what's at home and they're like, well, that's what I'm going to do.
Yep.
Yeah.
You said that about the role models, like with Nick and Ben, and that's a big thing for, like, it's luck of the draw, really, isn't it? Like, if they weren't there, would your basketball career be what it is today? You don't know. Like, it's such a difficult one. But you're now that person for so many people, like, not just through school, but just, you got a name within basketball on the coast, obviously. Bit of white line fever, sometimes it's not a great... No.
No, mate.
You play with an edge.
Go down to Wynyard, Somerset, and it's just, copping it all the time from the, But Beveridge, you dirty prick. All the time. It's like, come on, guys. Let it go.
But you're that person now. Do you find that to be like, there's a bit of weight on that?
Yeah. Also, I know that what Nick and Ben and those guys did for me, like, I have the power to do that for other people. So, again, if they want to listen to me, great. And if they don't, which a lot of the time they won't, then they don't have to. But I know the guys that do, like your Fraser Eatons, Riley Haywood's a big one. Like after he got picked up by the Jackies, like rings me straight away. He's in tears, like, mate, thanks so much for everything you did for me, like all that sort of stuff. So, people are really grateful that do listen. But yeah, they can get mixed up in like the basketball player that I am sometimes. And a lot of people say it, like they always hated playing against me.
They would love you on the team though.
Yeah, they love me on their team. So, but other people from the outside that don't actually get to know me as the person, I'm completely different off the court than I am on the court. So yeah, some people will get confused in that and won't listen to me anyway. Like,
get caught up in that.
Yeah. But I've past students now that I've sort of helped. They'll come up to me all the time. Thanks so much for everything, like the guidance you gave us or the advice you gave us. Heaps of kids traveling the world now that'll share that with me. Even there was a point there where Elle and I were trying to save money. So we were, the Thunder Imports were living in our place and we were doing like house sitting, and we would give up our house and we just go do that and we'd save a heap of money. But now I've got kids that are doing house sitting all the time, and I'd share that with them and tell them what was going on. And they're doing house sitting now so they can save money, so then they can travel. And I see that and I'm like, that's sick. Good on you, as well done. Like that makes me really proud when I see that sort of stuff. So obviously those that do listen, they do go somewhere. And I even coming back to the scholarship stuff, had students like now at Don, they have like career and life planning, which is like pathways, which is a pretty pointless subject. Like it's well known that it is a dog shit course. However, there is some merit in some of the things we do, like the scholarship applications and like applying to uni. The kids still don't see university as a pathway. They think university is for really smart people. Like they still have that old school way of thinking where there's just so many courses that you can do that apply to them. And university is nearly easier than year 11, 12 because you're with like-minded people. You end up in a field that you are interested in, which is really easy to stay invested in. Whereas at Don, you got to do your maths, your English, all that stuff, and you're with kids that couldn't give a shit and don't want to be there, which makes it really hard. But I can say to my kids, like, I stuffed up. I didn't do the scholarship application. I cost myself all this. And then I've got kids that are getting $40,000 scholarships now that are just like, thank you, Joel. And I was like, yep, no worries. I'm glad I can help. So,
yeah. No, that's awesome. So, like, going back to, I guess, the point of our podcast, and a big call out from what you just said just then around, not knowing who you've helped. It's sort of a little bit like this podcast and sort of where we're at. And I guess why we've come back again as well is, for us, we were just sort of making this shit and putting it out into the ether and just hoping that someone got something out of it. But then while we weren't going, people were sort of saying, hey, like, when's the podcast coming back?
Where's that?
Like, where is it? What are you doing? Like, and for us, that was that real kick in the ass to keep on doing it, because when you're saying it so much and just putting this stuff out there, like you are, like you're not really super sure like who it is that's, actually taking your message. So good on you, man. But my question was sort of around like, what pivotal moments have you had in your life where you've noticed that if you didn't do this thing, something could have went completely in the opposite direction? Like, for instance, meeting Ben and Nick.
Yeah, I had one last year. I think it was last year at school. I had a big one where I had a massive blow up with someone at the school and had to take some time off. No, it must have been the year before. It was the year before. I had to have some time off. I think it was about 2 weeks before Elle and I were going overseas anyway. So took 2 weeks off and then took a whole term off whilst we were travelling. I was really battling with some of the ways that things are changing at school, like all the box ticking now and all the extra shit you got to do. And people were at our, I don't want to brag on it because it actually created change, so it's good to talk about. But we were having to sit at our desks for longer. We were like, if we were out playing pickleball or whatever,
doing the important stuff.
People were literally dobbing on us, and it became a really negative culture. But people were adapting out of COVID. That knocked heaps of people around, especially like we've got an older staff at Don, and they become super worried about it. And yeah, had like we were having extra staff meetings and I was sitting in staff meetings and I had this build up over a couple of years where I was really struggling in staff meetings to sit there and I was getting worse, and then I felt like people were attacking me, and then this dobbing culture, and it became a really, really big problem, and it came to a head where it was like a screaming match in the school grounds. Had to get out of there. Anyway, when I come back, talked about it, I ended up doing like 3 sessions with EAP, is it? Yep, employee assistance, and they were really, really helpful. She extended that. She got me 8 extra sessions. So there was a little bit.
There's a little bit else.
There was a little bit to unpack there. So yeah, but throughout that, I learnt heaps about myself, about why this stuff was happening, why I was hating going to work. I used to love going to Don, teaching there. It was bloody awesome. And then I had a couple of years where I was despising driving to work, just thinking, fuck this, I don't want to do this. Anyway, went through that with her, and she's like, "Joel, have you been tested for ADHD?" And I was like, "No, but I'd be pretty confident I could pass that test." So I went down that path, and I mean, I know it's the flavour of the month at the moment, and everyone's got ADHD, and you see it everywhere. But learning about what that is and what that looks like, and smash those tests out of the park. I think you have to get a score out of 9 on each, and you can be one or the other. And I scored like 9 out of 9 on one and 7 out of 9 on the other. Like absolutely nailed it. And I was like, I probably knew that was going to happen. But yeah, in terms of understanding that I can't sit there for long periods of time. There's not actually anything wrong with me, and understanding what that looks like. But when it got explained, like it's probably a primitive thing where back in the day, there's like people they look after the camp, and then there's the people that go out and protect the camp, and all, so you're hypersensitive, hypervigilant, all that sort of stuff. It's just a normal thing. But being able to talk about that stuff, and understanding, okay, I can't sit there and do this stuff, but now the other people at Don know that as well, that, okay, Joel can't sit at his desk. Joel needs to go and play pickleball. He needs to go and do this. He needs to go. That's why I became a PE teacher, because I'm always on the move. There's always other shit to do. I'm always doing stuff. So I'm self-medicating basically. So when things did change, it was like, no, that's it. We're sitting at our desk. We're doing more paperwork. I just couldn't do it. However, yeah, that understanding, now being medicated as well, I don't take it all the time. But if I've got staff meetings or I've got schoolwork to mark, like I was having to reread so much stuff because it just wasn't going in my head, and I'll be doing 25 things at once. So that was a really pivotal moment, and it could have been blow up and lose my job. And in the end, sat down, had a not a re-entry meeting, but had it out, talked about it, what the problems were, and it's completely shifted the whole culture at the school. And for me as well, like people laid off me, whether that was in my head anyway, I'm not sure, but it just opened that conversation, and everyone was more understanding of each other. And we're teaching this stuff all the time at school about differentiated learning, and people learn in different ways, and we've got to be understanding of everyone's brains. And then we're going to sit all the staff members in a bloody staff meeting for an hour and a half and expecting them to all learn the same way. It was just idiotic. Why are we trying to teach one thing and then we're doing the complete opposite of what we're trying to teach? And that's the stuff I was struggling with. I was like, we're not doing exactly what we're teaching. So it opened that conversation up, and it's the last 12 months have been back to what it was. And yeah, so it was really, really cool. But I'd say that was pretty pivotal.
Was it a tough pill to swallow? Accepting the ADHD thing?
Nah, not really.
Because I've definitely got it, 100%. Oh, yeah. And I reckon we all do, to an extent.
To a degree. There's just, you either do or you don't.
But I don't reckon I could walk in the doctor and be like, oi, you reckon you could test me for that?
Yeah.
I don't know. Is that like a...
Not really. I knew I had to make a change. Like, I couldn't keep going like that. Was it just
work it was impacting, or home?
At home as well. I'd try and do 50,000 things, and poor Elle's trying to keep up with me.
How many things do you finish?
Yeah, nah.
0?
Yeah, pretty close. Yeah. always have projects on the go. But yeah, it was impacting at home as well. And I just have different ideas of what I want and wasn't communicating those very well. So, it's definitely made a difference at home as well as that. So we're in a much better. Obviously, those sessions helped as well. But talking really, but the communication, which we don't do enough of, and we say it all the time, just speak up, like the speak up, stay chatty, all that stuff. But it really is the most powerful thing. I've got people now that I strongly encourage, like I can talk to them and I'll strongly encourage them to go and speak to someone, and they're usually reluctant. They say, no, I won't do that. Or they're too proud, or they're a bit worried about what could happen if they do. But yeah, I had one the other day that I recommended that I go and talk to someone, and again, same thing, come back to me and said that was amazing. Like, it was so good for me to unpack that stuff. It's not always a positive experience because it probably is pretty tough for people at times. But yeah, one thing I've learnt through that, I think the thing that changed it for me, was I was listening to a podcast with Jordan DeGoey, and he was talking about, he got diagnosed with ADHD, and they were talking about what they do at Collingwood, and they have a psychologist at the club that they speak to nearly every week. And the way they spoke about it took that stigma out of it a fair bit. And I was like, well, and they talked about how helpful it has been for them just to unpack their brain even from the week, because everyone holds onto their thoughts and then they impact them, and then so listening to that podcast actually sort of shifted something in my head to say, go and at least explore this and see what comes out of it. And it's definitely changed my life. Probably, as I said at the start, the healthiest I've been in a long time physically, but then at home at the moment is, whilst we're undergoing an insurance nightmare, which we spoke about earlier, haven't been home for 7 months, we're probably and it has been really, really difficult at times, where it's probably brought us together, and our ability to communicate at home has just become excellent. So, it's definitely strengthened our relationship as well.
Thinking back of your mentors that you mentioned, Nick and Ben. Now, I don't really know where Ben is at the moment, but seeing Nick sort of on socials fairly regularly, and seeing him on the NBL in the background there in one of the Sydney Kings games, seeing him sitting on their bench, and sort of what he's doing now with sporting clubs.
Yeah.
Did he ever have this conversation with you at all?
Well, Ben at the moment, for references, I think he's teaching music at Exeter, I think. Lives in Bridport, and he just, I don't actually catch up with Ben very often anymore. Well, Nick's obviously running his sort of leadership mentoring stuff at the moment, again, about helping young men or young athletes and, open up those conversations that they're not having, and breaking down their barriers and righto, how can I help? And with Sydney, he's helping with their culture stuff. Like, he went in and spoke after the Bondi stuff happened. He went in and spoke to the whole group because some guys were really battling with that. So that was his job to go in, and he's become sort of their culture, help foster the leadership stuff. So in terms of the conversation, which...
is that something that he'd sort of seen in you, like the ADD sort of stuff, and mentioned any of that to you? Because obviously he's got a history of being a teacher and sort of seeing kids like you coming through the system, or even having a chat with people. No, was that not something that he was sort of gone before you got to that? Yeah, no, he was gone. Point?
So he left. Yeah, he got out of Don, or got out of teaching and moved to Vietnam and was over there. So that, I guess that became a little bit difficult not having him there. But we used to fight like brothers as well, so over things at work. But then we'd have a cuddle and we'd be all good. And he used to challenge me a lot to be a better version of myself, and I would also challenge him. So we'd butt heads pretty often. But in terms of the ADHD thing, I don't think he really, don't quote me on it, but I don't think he was buys into that space as much. I mean, he knows it exists, but for me, it was, he didn't really buy into that as much. We have had that conversation. He's like, no shit, mate, of course you do. But, it wasn't really like go down the path of medication. He would be more self-medicating kind of guy.
Yeah, that's fair. The other thing that you brought up while you were talking about that point was actually COVID, and it really jogged my memory for someone like you that was playing and so heavily into sport. How did that impact you, that period where you weren't really able to do much?
In fear of a lot of people getting upset with me, I actually really enjoyed COVID.
Drink heaps of beer.
Basketball shut down, and we were going pretty well in that season. And I think we were chasing a 4-peat that year. Would have been the only team in history to go 4 in a row. And we had Rain Smith in our team, and who was that's when he started to go next level. So that was really disappointing, but just flipped. And I went and played footy instead, because I was like, basketball shut down, footy didn't shut down. So I ended up going to play a season of reserves football at Alvey for the Robins. Just again, I needed to do something, and I was good mates with Clay and Jack, so they were both there, and went and had a crack at footy. I tried to break into the senior team, but couldn't get in there. Bannon wouldn't give me a game.
Still dirty on it.
Yeah, still filthy about it. But yeah, no, I met some good guys through that. Like Jess Bond was a guy I met through that, who now I've become really good mates with Bondy as well, and he helped. Sort of when my side business stagnated for a while and I sort of lost motivation, he just jumped in and gave me that boost and helped me like with his skills. So yeah. But yeah, as for the other stuff, like when COVID happened, I just got to stay home and do stuff. Like
got your own space back, didn't you?
Got time at home, and life slowed down. And I think we put Jack come around. We put in a golf green at my house and like a putting green and a few other. Just got to do jobs around the house that you don't get time to do because there's all these expectations you have to be everywhere. And for me, I overcommit myself to 50 things all the time, and then I collect friends like Pokemon cards. So there's always someone wanting to do something, and I'll do that. Yeah, I'll do that. So yeah, COVID was actually kind of nice and refreshing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, man, that's probably a good segue, I think, to thank you for coming on and being a part of it and saying yes to one of the many things and opportunities that you probably had today.
Yeah.
I think we touched on a lot. Thanks for coming on. If there's anything else that you wanted to bring up or you think that was important to talk about, now's your time. Otherwise, we'll wrap up. And
I'm sure I'll walk out of here and go, I could have spoke about that. I could have spoke about that. I could have spoke about that. But I was keen to jump on and have a chat about, like I said, actually talking, especially if we can help whoever listening or if anyone listens or wants to listen to it, you can to go and seek help and don't be afraid of that. Like that stigma of not getting help it's got to go. The best thing I ever did was speak up and go, I'm hating this at the moment. This sucks. So I need to go and talk to someone. And through doing that, opened up all these other avenues that has tremendously improved my life and gave me a better understanding of some of the decisions I was making and some of the frustrations I was having and understanding what that is and why that is, as well as giving me some strategies to deal with those things, either through medication or just through self-medicating. Whether it's at a staff meeting now, take something to play with so I don't have to sit there and just listen and lose my shit. So I'll now take my laptop and try and do something productive and have one ear on the conversation and do something else on my laptop that's going to sort of set me up in the future. So if we can make a difference in that space, I was happy to talk about that.
Champion.
Yes. Nice work.
Very good.
Cool.
Thanks, man. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers, Joel.